Leaving from All right, you guys. Timing? Yeah, camera?
Yeah.
All right, we're on.
Okay, hi, I'm Toby.
And I'm Seri. Today we'll be talking about something that is often overlooked in our community, mental health.
We'll first be discussing what exactly mental health is, what contributes to it, and solutions. Okay, so mental health, according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices.
As we just said, even though mental health is especially important, it is often overlooked by the community. This, along with the pandemic, has caused mental health to rise.
Long-term stress can have detrimental effects on both mental health symptom and long-term stress can have detrimental health on mental health. Long-term stress can have detrimental effects on mental health. Symptoms can range anywhere from simple anxiety to depression and even suicidal thoughts.
In order to find the causes and severity of mental health at HKIS, we had some of our classmates, 52 of them, to fill out a Google form. But before we begin, I'd like to talk about why we chose this topic and our personal connection to it. We've had multiple friends deal with anxiety, severe stress, and even depression. And many of them some of them actually, have had suicidal thoughts as well. And this also relates to my personal connection because as someone who has been talking to them and often working through things with them, I've also personally dealt with some of these problems. And I know firsthand how it can negatively impact both your physical and mental well-being. As a community, we believe that while the topic is touched upon, there's still sort of a stigma around it that causes people to be more reluctant talking to others on what they're experiencing. And we believe that this should be something that should be changed, which we'll touch upon later on. So before we go deeper into the specifics of the sociological problems, we'd like to show the results of our form. First, in the upper left corner, and the lower left corner, we have these two graphs on the stress levels at HKIS. Our first graph is on how people and the respondents felt on the stress, and many of them responded that their stress levels were 7 or above, which is considered to be pretty high. Now the lower graph shows whether the students thought that their stress was good or bad stress. And as you can see, a majority of the stress is above a 5, which signals that many people believe that their stress negatively impacts them rather than positively impacting them.
Looking at what is causing student stress, a majority of students' stress comes from an academic standpoint, with around 86.4% of the respondents. School tests were the main cause of their stress, followed by school classes, the future, which is sort of also academic as colleges, and school life. When faced with stress, an astonishing 48 and 68% of students would feel safe approaching family and friends, while a meager 14% of students would choose to approach a counselor and 8% would approach a teacher.
Okay, so some of the symptoms of stress we discussed previously are depression and suicidal thoughts, although it is important to keep in mind that stress does not always present the same in everyone. While some people will only feel the stress and may have some sort of anxiety, others may deal with additional symptoms such as fatigue, loss of appetite, and others. Now, according to this top graph, around 44% of the students who responded say that they have experienced some sort of depression at some point, while 50% know of a friend who has experienced depressive thoughts or have self-harmed.
Okay, so these two graphs over here are about self-harm, depression, and suicidal thoughts. So on the top graph, a surprising 27% of the 52 students have turned towards self-harm at some point, while 24% on the lower graph have experienced suicidal thoughts. Okay, so why do us high schoolers face so much stress and only turn towards familiar people with no professional experience? The answer, we think, is trust. Students simply don't trust people such as counselors and teachers, who are outside of their enclosed circles. Just now we talked about few students felt safe approaching at times of stress, and only 14% of students chose counselors and 8% teachers. It's not just a question about school staff either. Not many people trusted us on the forum. When a no answer option was given, like over here, I think 67% of students decided not to answer the question. And at the end of the forum, only 11 out of 52 students decided to fill out their names and emails. This conclusion brings us to our big question. How do you create trust? When you decide to trust someone, it means that you believe in someone's integrity and that you 100% believe that they can help and understand you. It also means that you are willing to share your secrets and sensitive information with them, and that you are willing to follow their advice. Sorry. So we created a list of possible solutions. The ones we're going to share are what we feel are the most important in each category. So the categories are student, counselors, / teachers, I feel, and school. So students should get to know their teachers on a personal level, and should always try one teacher that they'd always feel comfortable approaching. This can help set up sort of a trust relationship instead of the normal teacher to student relationship.
For counselors and teachers, it's the confidentiality policy. Many students feel uncomfortable approaching counselors or teachers because they know that adults at school will share the information they share with someone else. Although it is known that counselors and teachers do this for the safety of the students, sometimes the students just need someone who they can talk to and rant to without further consequences. They also often have their parents involved, and many times the students would rather be able to tell their parents themselves instead of having someone else tell them for them. So many times students just want a safe place that they can go to talk about their problems rather than having someone who they know will talk to someone else about it. For schools, we believe that a solution to this trust could be to normalize mental illnesses in the sense that it's less of a taboo. Students would feel more comfortable talking about the subject and therefore could approach other people to help if they ever wanted help on whatever they're facing. As of now, stress and anxiety are talked about a lot. However, topics such as severe depression and suicide are still treated differently. There is still a stigma around them that causes students to feel as though if they talk about it, they will be shamed or made fun of in some way. And although it is a touchy subject, talking about it can help people feel like they're less alone and help them get through whatever they're experiencing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.